order in which we have the teams for the final parliamentary procedure is we will start number 1 with Bainville, Joliet, Corvallis, and then finish with Shepherd 1. For everyone in the audience, since this is an active contest, we ask that you quiet your voices and allow these students to participate the best that they can without distractions. This is scheduled to be a 2-hour contest, so we're going to try to finish in 2 hours. Thank you.
Test. Test.
Test. Test.
Get closer.
Test.
Test. Test.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Test.
And go down a little bit more.
Can I move this one?
Looks good,
Is
man.
mine on?
I feel like
Test. We're good.
Yeah, Kenzie.
I'm nervous.
No, it's good.
Okay. I wish this was lower though. I don't know how to make this lower.
Well, you're sounding good up on the mic there, Joliet. Congratulations on making it to the final round. It's a real honor to be up there, and we're looking forward to you showing off your meeting ringing skills. So you all know the drill. We're going to give you a minute to take a look at your cards on the chairs, and we're going to have countdowns on the TVs in front of you, so just take a look there. And then after that 1 minute, we'll call time, and you'll have 11 minutes for your presentation. Do you have any questions for us before we start in?
Nope.
All right.
Time.
What is the next item of business?
Madam President,
Grace.
I move that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that the chapter send 1 member to the next Gen C conference and 2 members to WLC. Maker of the motion has first right to debate. Grace, you have the floor.
I brought this motion to the table because what a great opportunity these people have to attend these conferences. Not a lot of people get to attend these, and you get so much knowledge and leadership skills from these conferences. Vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
Allison.
This is a motion that I see myself getting behind. As sending a member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 to the WLC, they will bring back knowledge that we can use to better our chapter, which is what we stand for. Vote yes on this motion.
Madam President,
Avery.
I stand the negative on this motion. As our annual highway cleanup comes around the time our Next Gen LLC comes to, we will not be able to send any of our members to this, so please vote no.
Madam President,
Addison.
I am against this motion because we don't know when these are or how much money we will have to raise to bring these members, so please vote no.
Madam President,
Allie.
I cannot lend my hand to this motion. Sending members to these conferences will just be too much money, and our chapter does not have the time or resources to make this possible right now. This is why I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we postpone the motion indefinitely. This motion is debatable, non-amendable, and requires majority vote to adopt. As maker of the motion has first right to debate, Allie, you have the floor.
I brought this postponement before the Assembly because sending members to these conferences will cost a lot of money and time. As previous speakers have stated, we need our members at home at our chapter to do things like our highway cleanup and other fundraisers and community service activities. Please vote up this postponement.
Madam President,
Avery.
I can get behind this motion. As our chapter secretary, I do know that our next meeting we have more dire matters to get to, and I really don't see this as a good use of our time. Please vote yes on the postponement.
Madam President,
Grace.
I am against this postponement, as there are so many benefits to this motion that we cannot simply get rid of. There are so many leadership opportunities for these people, and it'd be not good for us to not be able to give those to other people. Vote no on this postponement.
Madam President.
Addison.
I am against this postponement. If we do find out all the things we need to find out about this motion, I feel like this would be a great opportunity to represent our chapter. So please vote no.
Madam President,
Allison.
as I was for the main motion, I am absolutely against postponing this motion indefinitely. By disposing of it, we will be lessening our chances of grading our chapter. And this is not something that I find useful at all. Vote no.
Madam President,
Allie.
seeing all the negative debate, I ask the Assembly's permission to withdraw my motion.
Are there any objections? Seeing none, motion withdrawn.
Madam President,
Avery.
as it is time for our green hand ceremony, I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we lay the motion on the table. This motion is not debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote to adopt. All those in favor of laying the motion on the table say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, motion fails.
Madam President,
Grace.
I move to divide the question to consider separately, so it reads, I move that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference, and I move that our chapter send 2 members to WLC.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we divide the question to consider separately, so if adopted, it would read, I move that the chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen C Conference, and I move that the chapter send 2 members to WLC. This motion is not debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote to adopt. All those in favor of considering the question separately say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, motion fails.
Madam President,
Avery.
I move to take a 5-minute recess to discuss informally.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we take a 5-minute recess to discuss informally. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of taking a 5-minute recess to discuss informally say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
The noes have it, motion fails. Is there any further debate?
Madam President,
Addison.
I move to commit this to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair. Chair appoints the chair with the power to investigate.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that we refer this motion to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair. Chair appoints the chair with the power to investigate and report back. This motion is both debatable, amendable, and requires majority vote to adopt. Maker of the motion has first right to debate. Therefore, Addison, you have the floor.
I brought this motion before the Assembly because my older sister went to WLC 2 years ago, and she said this was a great opportunity. So if we figure out when and how we can send these members, this would be perfect. So please vote yes.
Madam President,
Grace.
I am against this referral. I know there are so many people that want to go, but we need to decide now. There's not much time to waste before applications are due for this. So vote no on this referral.
Madam President,
Allison.
I think that by referring this to a committee, we will be poorly utilizing our time. We have to get on fundraising for these 2 things immediately if we're to send members to the conference and WLC properly. I urge the Assembly to vote no on this referral.
Madam President,
Allie.
Disagreeing with the previous speaker, I believe that this would be an amazing way to gather more information, and then we can work as an assembly to make a solid decision. Please vote yes.
Madam President,
Avery.
I can get behind this motion. As I know that some of our younger members do need more help getting in with our chapter, I think this would be a good idea for them to do this, to investigate and report back to us. Please vote yes.
I rise to a question of privilege, Madam President.
State your question.
As it is hard to hear in here, I ask permission to set up a second speaker system.
As that would disrupt the flow of business, I will deny your request but ask the Assembly to speak up. Are you ready for the question? The question is on referring this motion to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair. Chair appoints the chair with the power to investigate and report back. All those in favor of referring the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No. Division.
Division has been called. All those in favor of referring this motion, please rise. You may sit. All opposed, please rise. You may sit. Motion passes. This committee will consist of Avery as chair, Addison, and Allison. Is there any further business which should now be transacted? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Oh, please rise for questioning.
Thank you, ladies. We'll now begin questions for each individual motion maker. So to the maker of the motion, question of privilege.
Yes.
Name 3 examples of questions of privileges that relate to the assembly.
3 examples of questions of privileges that would relate to the assembly include things like asking permission for everyone to take their jacket off, setting up a speaker system like I did in the presentation, and also asking to move seats or something that would interrupt the assembly.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, lay on the table. Your question has 2 parts. Part 1, can the subsidiary motion to lay on the table be used in the place of the subsidiary motion postpone indefinitely, and why?
No, it cannot, because when you lay it on the table, you can come back and redo it. As it been postponed indefinitely, you completely kill the motion. Do not come back to it.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, withdraw. If a member wishes to withdraw his or her motion, when must it be done without requiring permission of the assembly?
In order to withdraw a motion, you have to do it before a vote is taken on the motion.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, division of the question. Assume you are chairing a meeting and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
I would say that we would divide it because you can divide having one committee to investigate and then one committee to report back of what they did.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, commit or refer. What are 2 differences between a committee of the whole and a quasi-committee of the whole?
A committee of the whole is the whole chapter, and a quasi-committee is just a couple of people.
Thank you. And lastly, for our chairperson, Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for a main motion. Describe 4 of them, please.
A main motion must be seconded, it can be debated, and it can be amended, and requires majority vote to adopt.
Thank you so much. We will now have 3 minutes for clarifying questions.
One clarifying that we need, who wants credit for that division of the assembly there near the end? Was that you?
Yeah.
Thank you. On the refer to a committee, you stated that the chair was going to appoint the chair. Do you have to state that in the motion to refer? And if it's not stated, how do we know who the chair is? What does Robert's rules tell us about that?
You don't have to state chair appoints the chair, but the chair, if that's not stated, would be the maker of the referral.
Okay. Tell me about withdraw. We had a question here, and when it can be withdrawn without the permission from anybody. When do you have to ask if there's objections to withdrawing? When does it go to a whole vote? Tell me about withdraw.
When withdrawing a motion, it's basically you just understand that the chapter is completely not interested in following through with that motion, so you just remove it from the table. If you want to take it off without asking the assembly permission, you have to do it before the chair restates the motion and it becomes an item of business. And then if you want to take it off with permission, you can do it during debate, after debate, as long as you do it before the motion is voted on.
Okay. What might be some reasons that we might move to postpone indefinitely, other than to kill the motion?
Other reasons is that if we have like something else to do, and like everyone's against it. And if we have other important matters to get to on that, especially meeting.
Would moving postpone indefinitely expedite discussion on a main motion?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was our more urgent business on the lay on the table?
It was our green hand ceremony.
Thank you for that. What motion could be applied to the divide the question in order to block amendments on it?
Previous question.
Thank you, Joliet. Nice job.
Thank you.
I'm gonna check all the cards.
Hey, they remembered to appoint the committee. Yeah, they did. So we gotta keep it on the sunny side here. Hey, what I kind of missed the answer on that divide the question. What do you think? Just like what you guys? I did too. We just need a few minutes.
2-3 minutes, and then I can bring Corvallis in.
Yeah, that would be down to
She said they would divide it because
All right, our next team will be Corvallis FFA, and just a reminder to everyone in the convention hall to keep quiet while the round is going. Thank you.
gosh, guys, this is perfect.
This is so good. Oh, okay.
Testing. Test.
Testing. Okay. I can. Okay.
Okay.
A little closer. Okay.
I think it needs to come up just a tiny, tiny bit.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
This was really awkward.
You're a little tall.
Oh, wow, fancy. Madam Chair.
Test. This is like right in my face. It's really weird. Is that good?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Ooh,
Hello.
really come
How's
and
it
hit my
going
face.
in the crowds? Pop,
You can be like-
popsicle.
Test. Okay, that's weird. Yeah. Is this good? Am I like too far? I feel quiet. Hey. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we?
Yay.
Whatever. Can you guys hear me? Morgan.
I know that's what
Morgan.
Wait, I want to start ASMR.
Morgan Beisel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
This close. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Louder?
A little bit.
Little bit? Okay. You too, probably. Just in
What?
case.
Just in case.
I can do that.
Wait, should I do pig ASMR?
Is there a gavel up here?
Madam
I was
Chair.
told there was.
Away.
Is there supposed to be?
Money ASMR.
She's not biting.
Hello.
And let
Okay.
me voices into the mic. Everyone can hear me.
Stop it. Okay. Okay. Oh no.
It's
All right, Corvallis, you look ready. And we know you're a fun group. Looking forward to your presentation a lot. So you know the drill for this contest. You're going to take a look at your cards here in a bit. Your timer is on the TV screens in front of you. So take a look at that. And after that minute, we'll call time, and you'll proceed into your presentation. After 11 minutes, you get time deductions for each second that you go over. So just keep that in mind. Do you have any questions for us before you begin?
No.
All right. Your time starts now.
Time.
Is there any new business?
Madam Chair,
Rayleigh.
I move that our chapter send one member to Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any debate upon this matter?
Madam Chair.
Rayleigh, as maker of the motion, you have first rights.
I think that this would be a wonderful idea, not just for our chapter, but for our members. It would show them great leadership skills, and why wouldn't we do this? We have the funds and we have the time. For these reasons, please vote yes and pass this motion.
Madam Chair.
Amelia.
I rise in strong affirmation of this motion. This motion will be greatly beneficial for our chapter as a whole. At WLC, you learn valuable resources in leadership and community service. For these reasons, pass this motion.
Madam Chair.
Corbin.
I'm a strong advocate for this motion today because, as it says in the FFA Creed, I believe in the future of agriculture. So by sending them to the Next Gen Conference and WLC, it'll really help grow our chapter and the entire FFA community as a whole. For these reasons, please vote with me.
Madam Chair.
Morgan.
I rise in strong opposition to the main motion today. Why only send 2 members to the WLC? Last year, our chapter had the funds and the opportunity to send 7
I don't
members.
really agree with the speaker
Point
saying.
of order.
State your point.
In Robert's Rule of Order, one member may not speak when another member is speaking.
Thank you. Corbin, please see. Morgan, continue.
Thank you. So as I was saying, limiting our chapter to only sending 2 members would be a catastrophic idea. Please stand with me in failing the main motion.
Madam Chair,
Katie.
I rise in disfavor of this motion today. I don't think that this will be a very good idea since there are scholarships and other opportunities that will allow members to go to WLC and Next Gen Conference. They can fill them out and it'll teach them valuable information on filling out scholarships. I don't think this is worth our time today. Please vote with me in failing this.
Question of privilege.
State your question.
May we take off our jackets? It's hot in here.
Due to lack of time, I'll have to deny your request.
I respectfully appeal the decision of the chair.
An appeal has been called for. All those in favor of upholding the decision of the chair, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it. Decision upheld. You will keep your jackets on.
Madam Chair,
Amelia.
I move we take a 5-minute recess due to informal consultation.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor that we take a 5-minute recess for informal consultation, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Noes have it. Motion fails.
Madam Chair,
Katie.
I move we postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any debate upon this matter?
Madam Chair,
Katie, first rights.
I believe that postponing this motion indefinitely would be the best idea for our chapter today. I think that this motion just really doesn't hold a lot of information for us since WLC and everything else is already getting registered and stuff. I think this is just not very relevant and that we don't need to talk about it at all. I also just think it's a horrible motion, so vote with me in postponing this.
Madam Chair.
Rayleigh.
I think that this is an awful idea. We have not had enough time to speak about this, and we have not had enough time to hear everyone's opinions. If we were to postpone this motion indefinitely, it would be a catastrophic idea. For these reasons, please vote no.
Madam Chair.
Corbin.
I'm strongly opposed to this postpone indefinitely. I believe that we have the funds and the time to send one member to these conferences. We just had a really big fundraiser and we have the funds to send them off to this. So do not feel this postpone indefinitely and vote with me.
Madam Chair.
Morgan.
I'm a strong advocate for postponing this indefinitely. The main motion isn't really relevant to our chapter because it's really limiting how many members we send, and we haven't had the chance to hear everyone debates, but this motion is awful, so please fail it.
Madam Chair.
Amelia.
I rise in strong opposition to this motion. This motion would kill the motion at hand, and we have not had an actual discussion on this motion. Killing this would be detrimental to our chapter and not give our students the opportunity that they deserve. For these reasons, fail this motion.
Madam Chair,
Katie.
hearing the voices of my fellow speakers, I move to withdraw this motion.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor that we withdraw this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Thank you. Ayes have it. Motion withdraw.
Madam Chair.
Rayleigh.
I still think that this would be a wonderful idea. We have the members that would be willing to go to these events, and they would be able to learn wonderful leadership skills, and I think that if we didn't do this, it'd be passing up a really great opportunity. For these reasons, please vote yes and pass this motion.
Madam Chair.
Amelia.
I rise in strong affirmation of this motion due to the reasons that it gives our chapter opportunity. But we've also, with our recent fundraising activities, we have the money to send them there. And I think they could really get a learning experience to bring back to our chapter and be a great influence to our people in general. For these reasons, pass this motion.
Madam Chair.
Corbin.
I move to divide the question by separately considering first, I move that the chapter send one member to the Next Gen Conference, and secondly considering, I move that our chapter send send 2 members to WLC.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All is in favor that we divide the question into 2 parts. Firstly, considering that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference, and secondly, considering that our chapter send 2 members to WLC, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Noes have it. Motion fails.
Madam Chair.
Morgan.
I'm still slightly opposed to the main motion because I just think that only sending 2 members to WLC and 1 to the Next Gen Conference is really limiting the leadership skills of our chapter and how we can develop as a whole. So please fail the main motion.
Madam Chair,
Katie.
I still rise in disfavor of this motion today. I just don't believe that we have the funds needed to give these members this opportunity. Since we are planning on going to nationals and that we already have several teams going this year, that we need to focus more on that instead of sending students places like WLC because nationals is way cooler. So vote with me in failing this motion.
Madam Chair.
Corbin.
I am still strongly for the main motion today because as it says in the FFA motto, doing to learn. And I think that if we were to send our members to these conferences, they would have so much growth and so much compassion towards others to take other members in the future to this competition. I believe that if we were to send them there, they'd be able to teach our chapter and many other chapters their knowledge and leadership that they have learned at these conferences. Please vote with me in passing this motion today.
Madam Chair.
Morgan.
I move to amend the motion so that if by striking out
2 members and inserting 10, so that if passed, it reads, I move that the chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and 10 members to WLC.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any debate upon this matter?
Madam Chair,
Morgan.
I think I rise and I made the amendment today because I just think that sending 10 members to the WLC would really give our chapter more opportunities to develop as a whole and have chapter bonding experiences together. This can reflect greatly on our chapter when our members come back from WLC with leadership skills that help us succeed even more. So please pass the amendment today.
Madam Chair,
Katie.
I rise in strong disfavor with this amendment. I think that we still don't have the funds that we would need to send this, and let alone 10 members now. WLC is an expensive opportunity, and I would love to give that opportunity to people, but our chapter just cannot afford it. Vote with me in dismissing this idea.
Madam Chair.
Amelia.
I move to refer this to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair with full power to act.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Is there any debate upon this matter?
Madam Chair.
Amelia first rights.
I rise in favor of this motion. As the maker of the motion, I believe that it's going to be sent to our officers, and our officers includes our treasurer, and our treasurer is aware of our financial standings within the chapter, and he will have a better say in what our chapter can afford or not. For these reasons, pass this motion.
Madam Chair.
Corbin.
I'm strongly for the committee for today because I believe that a lot of our officers have most likely gone to either a conference such as Next Gen or WLC or something like it, and I believe that they will be able to make the most accurate and precise decision. So I believe that we should send this to a committee of 3. Vote with me.
Madam Chair,
Rayleigh.
I move we lay this motion on the table due to the fact that our refreshments have arrived.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor that we lay this motion on the table due to the fact that our refreshments have arrived, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Noes have it. Motion fails.
Madam Chair.
Katie.
I rise in favor of sending this to a committee today. I think that they would have a lot of insight on whether or not this is a possible idea and whether or not we should do it as a chapter. I think that they have a lot more experience than us, and that by sending this to a committee, they would be able to have greater insight. So please vote with me in sending this to the committee.
Madam Chair,
Morgan.
I am in disfavor of sending this to a committee of 3 because there's only 3 people on the committee and we would be sending 10 members to WLC. I think our chapter should ultimately decide how many people we can send to WLC and if we have the finances. I think this should be a whole chapter decision in furthering our success. Please fail the motion.
Madam Chair.
Rayleigh.
I think that this committee refer is an awful idea. The members that we would be sending to this conference would not be on this committee, and the people on this committee have already gone. They would not think it's as important, and that it was something that we wouldn't need to focus on. For these reasons, please vote with me and fail this motion.
Is there any more discussion on the committee refer? Seeing none, we shall proceed to a vote. All those in favor that we pass this motion to a committee of 3 with full power to act, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it. Motion passes. Motion referred to a committee. Is there any more debate on the main motion? Seeing none, we shall proceed to a vote. All those in favor that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. No. Ayes have it. Motion passes. Is there any new business? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Assembly, please rise for questioning. Oh, wait, I still need this.
Thank you, Corvallis. Next, we'll proceed into individual questions. So we'll start off with the maker of the motion, question of privilege.
Yes, ma'am.
Name 3 examples of questions of privileges that relate to the assembly.
Can you repeat the question, please?
I can. Name 3 examples of questions of privilege that relate to the assembly.
Questions that relate to a member's personal privileges, rights to a debate, and on a vote.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, lay on the table.
Yes, ma'am.
Your question has 2 parts. First, can the subsidiary motion to lay on the table be used in the place of the subsidiary motion postpone indefinitely, and why?
No, because laying on the table would only postpone it to a certain time, so it'd be more like postpone definitely, and postpone indefinitely is only for a quarter or around 3 months.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, withdraw.
Yes, ma'am.
If a member wishes to withdraw his or her motion, when must it be done without requiring permission of the assembly?
Before it has been voted on, before the motion has been voted on, or before all the debates are exhausted.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion division of the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Assume that you are chairing a meeting and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
Can you repeat the question
I
a
can.
little
This is a long one. I can. Assume you are chairing a meeting and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
I would make it into 2 different committees for each part of the question that's divided.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, commit or refer.
Yes, ma'am.
What are 2 differences between a committee of the whole and a quasi-committee of the whole?
A quasi-committee of the whole is, it has a less number of members, and it has a more directed group of members, versus a committee of the whole is actually a committee of a majority of our members, whereas a quasi is more specialized members.
Thank you. And for our chairperson.
Yes, ma'am.
Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for a main motion. Describe 4 of them.
Okay. 4 of them? Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for a main motion. Describe 4 of them.
How it applies to being amendable, debatable, if it can be reconsidered, and if it requires a second.
Thank you. We will now have 3 minutes for clarifying questions.
Can anybody tell me what are the steps in presenting a motion?
To make the motion, to have it second, to debate on it, and then to vote on it.
To be accepted, to make the motion, to be seconded, and then the chair states the motion.
Okay, thank you. And so when are we actually considering a motion? At what point?
After it has been stated by the chair.
Okay, thank you. And so at that point, are we debating it? Are we considering it? And all of that. And so what's the purpose of postpone indefinitely?
To kill the motion at hand.
Are there any other reasons why you might use a postpone indefinitely? Hey, we had a division of the question today. Is divide the question amendable?
Yes.
What motion could we use to stop those amendments from occurring?
Postpone indefinitely.
When is lay on the table used? And what should be stated in that lay on the table?
Lay on the table is used when the person who is laying the motion on the table feels that they did, like Rayleigh said, she wanted to lay the motion on the table due to the fact that our refreshments have arrived. She felt that the refreshments were more important than the motion at hand.
Okay.
It temporarily postpones talking about that motion to take up in business that might be more important to some members.
Such as a guest speaker or snacks.
Okay. Hey, who's going to be on your committee? You all passed your refer to the committee. Where's it going now? Who's on that?
Usually our officers serve on committees.
Like our advisor and then probably the president and the treasurer.
Okay. And so what kind of a committee is that?
It's a special committee.
And do you have to vote? I guess, so what is the committee going to do? You gave them full power to act, but after you pass your referral, you came back and you voted to pass your main motion. And so is there any purpose for your committee? What are they going to do?
I believe the committee refer was stated on the motion at hand, which at the time was an amend. So the committee can deal with the amend and then vote on it and discuss it and bring it back to the assembly.
Time.
Thank you.
That was it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
What do I do with my paper?
Our next team will be Shepherd FFA, and just a reminder for everyone in the convention hall to please keep quiet while the rounds are going. Thank you.
Like that. Cool. Test. 1, 2.
Test.
Perfect. Anyways.
Test.
Mine works. Can you hear me?
Test. Good.
Test. Good. Yeah. Okay.
Still good? Perfect.
Test.
Let's move our chairs too.
Oh, that's good.
James is making 3 fingers.
Whoa.
He's taking 3 fingers seriously.
Test. Cool. Nah, that's good. Yeah.
Test.
It's
Test.
aight.
Should
It's
we
aight.
move these so we like?
Oh. Sounds good. No. Well, because half the people in here are not paying attention.
Yeah. And like, you're not supposed to pay attention a little bit.
Mine?
Yeah. Angle it down.
Oh, that's crazy.
Jake, start beatboxing. Yeah. It's like, good afternoon, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen in the arena, please remain quiet for the parliamentary procedure contest. And if you are not willing to remain quiet, we politely ask that you please leave the arena. Advisors, we would love your help in enforcing this so that we can have a fair contest.
Perfect. Do you hear me? I go perfect.
Yes, and this is.
Stood up and
Consider and withdraw. No, lay on the table. Take. Okay.
And then when do you object?
I feel like my chair is far from where my mic.
Reconsider. Lay on the. Take from the tab.
Go like
I got this.
I'm just afraid to like breathe into it right now. Haley.
I move to reconsider.
Doing back there.
I move to take the motion from the table.
I remember being up on the stage once. Okay. Yeah. Don't.
Anytime, like in the middle of like once we've debated all once.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's not you. You're on the nose. Yeah. The other pro team's not allowed to watch.
No, I think if they've already competed, they can.
But none of them are here.
Oh, then probably not.
When we're done, are we allowed to watch? Oh, that's crazy.
What?
When we're done, we can watch.
Oh, that's odd that nobody else is watching.
Yeah. They probably don't want to get like this.
Welcome, Shepard, and congratulations on making it to this level. It's
Thank
a real honor here, and we're looking forward to your presentation. You all look very comfortable up there, and you know the drill. Your timer is going to be on the TV screens in front of you, so take a look at that for your minute to look at the cards behind you, and then we'll start into your presentation. You'll have 11 minutes, and after that 11 minutes, we start to deduct points away for time, so just keep that in mind. Do you have any questions for us before we start in?
No,
I
sir.
don't think so, no.
All right, your time starts now.
You may begin.
Is there any further business which should now be transacted?
Madam Chairman.
Haley.
I move that our chapter send one member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that our chapter send one member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC. Haley, as maker of this motion, you have first right to debate.
Thank you. I brought this motion before the Assembly because I think by sending one member to Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC, they'll be able to bring back better skills to our chapter and better leadership skills that will help our chapter in the long run. So please help me in passing this motion.
Madam
Chairman. Grace.
I cannot offer my support for this motion, seeing that our chapter is not very aware of what Next Gen Conference is. We've never had members attend it, and I think that seeing that we won't know a lot about it, I don't think that's a good idea. And we already have members currently going to WLC, so I feel like we don't need to add more. So please vote with me in failing this motion.
Madam Chairman. James.
I am strongly in favor of this motion because these conferences add such a benefit to our chapter. chapter overall. And as the secretary, I know there is a strong support from our previous roll calls of members who have gone to these conferences, and I know that there are many other members who would look forward to going to these events. So please join me in passing this motion.
Madam Chairman.
Skylar.
I cannot offer my support for this motion. As being the chapter's treasurer, I know that we do not have enough funds in our account right now. And we have state coming up. This was super expensive as we had to pay for all our hotel rooms. So please vote with me against this motion.
Madam Chairman.
Maya.
I move to divide the question to consider separately the motion that our chapter send one member to the Next Gen Conference and the motion that our chapter send 2 members to the WLC.
It has been moved and seconded that we divide the question so that we consider separately the motion that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and the motion that our chapter send 2 members to WLC. This is a not debatable but amendable motion. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of dividing the question so that we consider separately that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and our chapter send 2 members to WLC, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Noes have it, motion is lost. We will not divide the question.
Madam Chairman.
Maya.
I think that this motion is a great opportunity because we have never sent someone to the Next Gen Conference. I think it will give our chapter an opportunity to reach out and try new things. This Next Gen Conference could be very beneficial, as well as a WLC. So please help me in passing this motion.
Madam Chairman.
James.
I move that we lay this motion on the table so in lieu of more important business, such as a speaker to come speak about the Next Gen Conference and WLC.
It has been moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table in lieu of more important business as our speaker is coming in. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Noes have it, motion is lost. We will not lay this motion on the table.
Madam Chairman.
Grace.
I move to refer this motion to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair and that they report back at our next regular meeting.
It has been moved and seconded that we refer this motion to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair and that they report back at our next regular meeting. Grace, as maker of this motion, you first right to debate.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think that this would be a great idea to be able to refer this to a committee because we would be able to get details a little bit more about what Next Gen Conference is and what it will entail for the students that we are holding or sending there. So please vote with me in passing this referral.
Madam Chairman.
Haley.
I do not think we should refer this motion because our next meeting, there will be a lot of members out for a track meet, and we will not have the proper time for this committee to come back and inform us of what they found. So please help me in failing this referral.
Madam Chairman.
James.
I am strongly against this referral because as there would only be a committee of 3, I feel like this strongly goes against the principles of our chapter and everybody being part of this decision and having a voice in what we do. So please vote with me in failing this referral.
Madam Chairman.
Skylar.
We should not pass this referral. I feel that we have all the information needed to figure out if we should or not pass this right now. We have too much going on at our next meeting to have a committee report back. So please vote with me against this referral.
Question of privilege, Madam Chairman.
State your question.
My chair is rather wobbly. May I please get a new one?
I'm sorry, I cannot allow you to do that at this time as it affects the flow of our assembly.
Parliamentary inquiry, Madam Chairman.
State your inquiry.
What vote is required to pass this referral?
A majority vote is required.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chairman.
Maya.
I think this referral would greatly benefit this meeting because we have better things to talk about right now, and I think if we send this off to a committee, we can further talk about the petting zoo we have coming up and also our donkey basketball tournament. So please help me in passing this referral.
Are you ready for the question?
Madam Chairman,
Maya.
I move the previous question.
Previous question has been moved. All those in favor of immediately ending debate and proceeding to vote on the referral, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. With more than 2/3 in the affirmative, previous question passes. We will now move to vote on the referral. All those in favor of referring this motion to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair and that they report back at our next regular meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Noes have it, motion is lost. We will not refer this motion.
Madam Chairman.
Skylar.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second. It has been moved and seconded that we postpone this motion indefinitely. Skylar, as maker of this motion, you first right to debate.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We should kill this motion. I feel that we do not have enough resources or money right now to send these members to these conferences. And we haven't done a fundraiser in so long that it would just take too much time to plan one in order to do this. So please vote with me in postponing this.
Madam
Chairman.
Grace.
I cannot offer my support to this postponement. Even though I am against the main motion, I still think that this is a great idea, and I think that if we were able to talk about this a little bit more and figure out the details of who we would be sending and maybe what Next Gen Conference is a little bit about, I think that we would be able to still do it. So please vote with me in failing this postponement.
Madam Chairman.
Haley.
I do not think that we should postpone this motion. This motion is too good to kill because it offers so much opportunities for the members in our chapter. Seeing as the Next Gen Conference focuses on the next step moving forward in leadership, so does as WLC also focuses on leadership, and those members can bring back a stronger influence in our chapter and communities. Please help me in failing this postponement.
Madam Chairman.
James.
I am strongly against this postponement because as a national 3-star chapter, we should always be looking for opportunities like this to further our development as as leaders in our community and become better role models within our schools. So please vote with me in failing this postponement.
Madam Chairman.
Maya.
I cannot offer my support to this postponement. This motion will greatly benefit not only our chapter, but our community. These leaders are being sent off to the Next Gen Conference and WLC to become better leaders in their homes, communities, and within their school. So I think this would be a great opportunity, so I just can't offer my support for this postponement. So please help me in failing it.
Madam Chairman.
Skylar.
After hearing all the negative debate, I ask leave to withdraw my motion.
It has been moved and the motion has been asked to withdraw. All those in favor of withdrawing the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
The ayes have it. Motion is withdrawn. We'll reopen debate on the
I
main
call
motion.
for division of the assembly.
Division has been called for. We will now proceed with the rising vote. All those in favor of withdrawing the motion, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. With more than the majority in the affirmative, motion is withdrawn. I will reopen debate on the main motion.
Madam Chairman.
Grace.
I move to take a 5-minute recess to gather information.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we take a 5-minute recess to gather information. This is a not debatable but amendable motion. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of taking a 5-minute recess to gather information, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Noes have it. Motion is lost. We will not take a 5-minute recess to gather information. I will reopen debate on the main motion.
Madam Chairman.
Haley.
I'd like to remind the Assembly that I brought this motion because I think that sending one member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WOC will greatly benefit our chapter in the long run. The FFA motto is living to serve, and by sending these members off to a leadership conference that will greatly serve our chapter is upholding that part of the motto. So please help me in passing this motion.
Madam Chairman.
James.
I am strongly for this motion because the entire purpose of the Next Gen Conference is to prepare a new generation of leaders for the industry of agriculture. And by doing this, we are helping our chapter, agriculture, and our community. So please vote with me in passing this main motion.
Madam Chairman.
Grace.
With a couple of I would like to remind the Assembly that I am still against this motion, seeing that we've had a couple motions like the referral and recess fail, so that we're not able to gather information about this Next Gen Conference and the students that we will be taking to WLC. So I just feel like there's going to be a lot of confusion and blurred area where we will not know who is going to be sent to this. So please vote with me in failing this motion.
Madam Chairman.
Maya.
I am still strongly in favor for this main motion because I feel like if we send these members to these events, they will come back with great memories to share. And it will further advocate more members to want to go, which will overall benefit our community and our school. So please help me in passing this main motion.
Madam Chairman.
Skylar.
This motion should not be passed. As I said before, we do not have the funds. And how are we going to choose which members get to go? If we only get to send 1 and 2, how are we going to choose that? I feel like it's not fair to only send those 3. So please vote with me against this motion.
Are you ready for the question? The question is that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. No. The ayes have it. Motion passes. Our chapter will send 1 member to the Next Generation Conference and 2 members to WLC. Is there any further business which should now be transacted? Seeing none, I now declare this meeting adjourned. Please rise for questioning.
Thank you, Shepard. We will now move on to individual questions. To the maker of the motion, question of privilege.
Yes, ma'am.
Name 3 examples of questions of privileges that relate to the assembly.
Could you repeat that?
I can. Name 3 examples of questions of privileges that relate to the assembly.
3 examples, you said? 3 examples would be something that would affect the entire assembly, not just one person, such as like the air conditioning or something that would affect the entire assembly. I used the example of just my chair, so that wouldn't affect the whole assembly, but yeah. And then, sorry, that was one example. And then another one would be like the lights or something such as that. And yeah.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, lay on the table.
Yes, ma'am.
Your question has 2 parts. First, can the subsidiary motion to lay on the table be used in place of the subsidiary motion postpone indefinitely? And second, why?
Can you please restate the question?
I can. Can the subsidiary motion to lay on the table be used in place of the subsidiary motion postpone indefinitely? And why?
No, it cannot be used to postpone the motion indefinitely. And 2, part 2 was why. It cannot do that because it is only used to shift the order of business within the chapter meeting.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, withdraw.
Yes, ma'am.
If a member wishes to withdraw his or her motion, when must it be done without requiring permission of the assembly?
It must be done after it's been restated and seconded.
Thank you. Division of the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Assume you are chairing a meeting and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
The chair would adopt the referral, and then she would adopt. I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
I can. Assume you are chairing a meeting and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
The chair would restate the referral, and then the motion that the division, and then someone would make the division, and then she would accept that, and then it would be debated, then restate the division, and then the division would be debated on, and then voted on, and then the 2 new motions would then further be debated on.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, commit or refer.
Yes, ma'am.
What are 2 differences between a committee of the whole and a quasi-committee of the whole?
Can you repeat the question?
I can. What are 2 differences between a committee of the whole and a quasi-committee of the whole?
The difference would be that the one committee is for the whole chapter vote, and the other would be just a committee created with a couple members.
Thank you. And to our chairperson.
Yes, ma'am.
Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for main motion. Describe 4 of them.
Can you restate that, please?
I can. Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for a main motion. Describe 4 of them.
The main motion is debatable. It is amendable. It requires a majority vote, and it can be reconsidered.
Thank you. We will now have 3 minutes for questions of clarification.
All right, you guys. Hey, we had a lay on the table today for a more urgent matter of a speaker to present to us on the Next Gen and WLC conference.
Yes, sir.
And we failed that lay on the table. What are we doing with our speaker?
We only had a little bit more business to continue, so I believe the maker of that motion thought we could get through, or the rest of the assembly thought we could get through that before the speaker came in.
Okay, thank you. And we had a division of the question today. And I guess from your prepared questions, I'm wondering, is divide the question debatable?
It is not debatable.
Okay, and is it amendable?
Yes, it is.
And what motion might we use if we wanted to block those amendments?
You would use previous question.
Okay, thank you. With the withdrawal as it came about today, should that have a second, or does that require a second on the withdrawal?
It does not require a second because the maker of the motion was withdrawing their own motion.
Oh, okay. And what are some other reasons that we can take a recess?
Informal consultation to count ballots and
gather information.
So we moved to postpone the motion and postpone the motion to withdraw. Why was that seconded?
It was most likely seconded because even though most of us were against it, we still wanted to hear what the maker of the postponement wanted to say in case we could switch our idea to be in favor of the postponement. But seeing as we all debated against it, we realized that we did not want to kill the main motion.
I'm going to come back around on that withdraw. The maker makes the motion, right? When is it no longer the maker's motion, but rather it belongs to all of us?
Could you repeat that question?
Yeah, when does a motion belong to the entire assembly and cease to be owned by the maker of the motion?
When that motion is officially adopted. So since we're still in debate, it still basically was only their motion, but if we were to pass it, then it would be adopted, and then the motion would be for the entire assembly.
And that is time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
you. Thank you.
All right, our final team will be Bainville FFA. Just a final reminder to everyone in the convention hall to please remain quiet during this final round. Thank you.
How do you turn this thing on?
It's on. They're all hot. Mics are hot.
Oh yeah.
Like, should it be like this or like?
I would do it probably like that so that you can just speak right into it. You don't have to.
Is this
Okay.
good? Is this
Check,
good?
check, check.
I don't even know
check.
if mine's on.
Check, check.
Like
I believe.
You can on like.
I
on-
believe that we.
I can't hear myself, so that's probably good.
But we can't.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yep. Yep.
Hallie?
I think so.
Hallie, did you
Yeah.
check it? Okay.
We're just gonna pause. We're gonna wait for our judges. They will take it from here. Good luck.
Thank you.
How do I turn this thing?
Oh, stop.
No, that might not work for us because we need to be able to hear you.
There we go.
All right, Bainville. Congratulations on making it to the final round. Really pretty cool to have you up here. And your reputation precedes yourself with the gavel and how you've been doing with your presentations thus far. So you know the drill. We're going to have the timer on the TVs in front of you. So take a look at that for your 1 minute to look at your cards. Then we'll call time, and you can start into your presentation. After that, we'll start deducting points if you go over 11 minutes, but you really have the time that you wish. Do you have any questions before we start in?
Nope.
No.
Okay, your time starts now. Go ahead and take a look at your cards.
You may begin.
Is there any further business?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Nelson.
I move that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Would the maker of the motion like first discussion?
I made this motion because I've noticed that we have a lot of younger members in our chapter, and I think that it would be a great opportunity for them if we send some of our members to these events. Please help me in passing this motion.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Wilson.
I am not in favor of this motion. I feel like if we would only send 2 members to WLC, that limits our people and what they can do for our chapter, and I do not like that idea. Please help me in failing this main motion.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I'm also against this main motion. I just think that sending people to more competitions is not a good idea because many of our members already go to many different events. Please help me in failing this main motion.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Wilson.
I am not in this main motion. I feel like if we only send 2 members to WLC and members would sign up, they would feel like they're forced to have to go and would just put a bunch of extra stress on their minds, and we would not like that for our members. Please help me in failing this main motion.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Wilson.
I am also opposed to this motion. I feel like our chapter does not have the funds to send these members to these places. Seeing that we are having to do lots of fundraisers just to get money to go to other things that we want to compete in. So please help me in failing this motion.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Iverson.
I'm in favor of this motion because I believe that this will open up a whole bunch of new opportunities for our members and they'll just benefit from this greatly. Please help me in passing this motion.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Wilson.
I move to limit debate to 2 debates per motion and 5 minutes per debate.
It's been properly.
Madam Chair, I withdraw my motion.
Motion withdrawn. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I'm still against this main motion. As previous members have stated, we do not have the funds to go to this chapter because we already do many fundraising activities to go to the events we do want to compete in. Please help me in failing this main motion.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Nelson.
this motion would be a great opportunity for maybe even some older members who want to try to get one more trip in before it's too late. So please help me in passing this motion.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Wilson.
I'm still opposed to this motion. There are many scholarships that you can apply for to attend these conferences. Please help me in failing this motion.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Iverson.
I'm still in favor of this motion because I believe that this will open up so many opportunities and older members can show younger members new things. Please help me in passing this motion.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I move to divide the question to state, I move the next chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference, and I move to send 2 members to WLC.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of dividing the main motion so that it states, I move that our chapter send 1 member to the Next Gen Conference, and that I move 2 members go to WLC, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails, voice vote.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Wilson.
I move to lay this motion on the table, seeing that we have dinner with Culbertson.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of laying this main motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion fails, voice vote.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Iverson.
I move to refer this motion to a committee of 3 with the power to act appointed by the chair.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Would the maker of the motion like first discussion?
I feel like this would be a great idea because these events aren't for a while and it will give our committee time to figure out what to do. Please help me in passing this referral.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Wilson.
I'm against this refer. I feel like most of our motions that we send to committees get sent to people that are not willing to do the work and put in the hours. I feel like if we were to put this to a committee, then it wouldn't be done and this would just be a wasted motion. Please help me in failing this refer.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Wilson.
I'm also opposed to this refer. I feel like, as previous members have stated, our committees don't get much done. We have so much stuff going on our plates that we just need to handle this right now. So please help me in failing this referral.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I'm in favor of this referral. I think if we move this to a committee, they can really figure things out like dates, money, how much money it would cost, and how much we would need to save up. Please help me in passing this referral.
Request for information.
Please state your request.
How many active committees do we have right now?
As of now, we have 3 active committees.
Thank you.
Is there any further?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Wilson.
I am not in favor of this refer. I feel like we push everything to a committee, and the people that get appointed by the committees always have gone on their committees, and they're just busy with their time. And most of the people that are on our committees are involved in other sports, and they have a very busy schedule from starting with 6 in the morning going to 8 at night. Please help me in failing this motion.
Madam Chair,
Miss Iverson.
I'm still in favor of this referral because I believe that the members of this committee can find people who want to go to these events, and it wouldn't just be people thrown in. Please help me in passing this referral.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Nelson.
I rise in opposition of this refer, even though it is an attempt to support my main motion. I don't think this is not how I first thought it was going to go, so please help me in failing this refer.
Madam Chair,
Miss Iverson.
I move to have a 10-minute recess.
Second.
A 10-minute recess has been called. Is there any amendments? Seeing none, we will now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of a 10-minute recess, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails, voice vote. Is there any further discussion on the referral?
Question of privilege.
Please state your question.
Can we please turn the lights down? It's pretty bright up here.
Seeing that I do not have the control for the lights, we may not. Is there any further discussion on the referral? Discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I'm still in favor of this referral. As previous members have stated, by referring this to committee, we can really try and get the right funds and get the right people in this committee. Please help me in passing this referral.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Wilson.
I move previous question.
Previous question has been called. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of previous question, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Thank you. Be seated. Motion fails. Rising vote. Is there any further discussion on the referral?
Madam Chair,
Mr. Nelson.
I still don't think that this refer is a good idea. I don't see many people being interested in joining another committee on something that they probably won't have as much interest in. So please help me in failing this refer.
Is there any further discussion? Discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of referring our main motion to a committee of 3 appointed by the chair with power to act, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails. Voice vote. You have all exhausted your limit of debate on the main motion. Would anybody like to make an additional motion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Would the maker of the motion like first discussion?
Seeing that we're not really getting anywhere on this main motion, I just think we shouldn't be talking about it anymore. Please help me in passing this postpone indefinitely.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Wilson.
I'm against this postpone indefinitely. I feel like if we were to postpone this indefinitely, then we will never talk about it again. And the members that do want to go to DLC and WLC won't be able to ever get going there, and they'll have to do this, and we won't be able to talk about it in our chapter meetings. Please help me in failing this postponement.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Wilson.
seeing that the previous speaker just stated that members won't have the ability to get to these if our chapter doesn't support it, I disagree with that. There are many scholarships, as I have said before, that you can apply to see if you can go. You can also try to get the money yourself by doing other fundraisers. It is not our chapter's job to be doing this, so please help me in passing this postpone indefinitely.
Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Romo.
I'm still in favor of this motion I made. By postponing this motion indefinitely, I think that would be a great idea because really, we don't really need to go to these competitions anyway. Please help me in passing this postpone indefinitely.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Nelson.
I am against this postponement. I see that this postponement is a way to not get younger members interested in FFA, and that this would not help our FFA chapter in the future. Please help me in failing this postponement.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed with the vote. All those in favor of postponing our main motion indefinitely, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion fails, voice vote. Is there any further business or discussion on the main motion? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of moving that our chapter sends 1 member to the Next Gen Conference and 2 members to WLC, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion fails, voice vote. Is there any further business? Seeing none, meeting adjourned. Please rise for questions.
Thank you, Bainville. We will now move on to individual questions. To the maker of the motion, question of privilege.
Yes.
Name 3 examples of questions of privilege that relate to the assembly.
Three examples would be turning down the lights, opening a window, or turning up microphones.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, lay on the table.
Yes.
Your question has 2 parts. I'll state them both. Can the subsidiary motion to lay on the table be used in place of the subsidiary motion postpone indefinitely, and why?
No, it cannot. Why? Because lay on the table means you're going to bring it up at a different time. Postpone indefinitely means that it's going to be killed.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, withdraw.
Yes.
If a member wishes to withdraw his or her motion, when must it be done without requiring permission of the assembly?
It must be done before there has been a discussion on the motion.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, division of the question.
Yes.
Assume you are chairing a meeting, and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
Can you please repeat that?
I can. Assume you are chairing a meeting, and it is moved to establish a committee and give it instructions. It is then moved to divide the question to consider separately establishing a committee and giving it instructions. Explain the action you would take.
I would wait for a second, and then I would discuss that. I would discuss the committee.
Thank you. To the maker of the motion, commit or refer.
Yes.
What are 2 differences between a committee of the whole and a quasi-committee of the whole?
A committee of the whole is everybody who is in the committee, and the committee of the quasi is one with only partial members of it.
Thank you. And to our chairperson.
Yes.
Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for a main motion. Describe 4 of them.
Can you repeat that, please?
I can. Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, lists 8 standard descriptive characteristics or rules for main motion. Describe 4 of them.
It must be seconded. It is debatable. It is allowed to have secondary motions added on to it, and it requires a majority vote.
Thank you. We will now begin 3 minutes of clarifying questions.
What are the rules of debate that are automatically in place on a debatable motion?
The maker of the debatable motion is awarded the first debate.
And how many times can a member debate, and how long for each time?
2 for 10 minutes.
Okay. So in our limit debate today, how are we limiting that?
Moving it
You
down
have been
to
limiting the time of the debate per debate. So, for example, if you were to debate 1 time, the maximum amount of time for debate would be 10 minutes. We limited it to 5.
we limit it to 5.
Okay, so each debate would be limited to 5.
Yes.
Got it. Hey, and then I guess I'm wondering, so lay on the table requires a more urgent matter. You have dinner scheduled with Culbertson. Go Cowboys. But is dinner a more urgent matter than the business that you have?
I thought it was, seeing that we already told them that we would be having dinner with them, and I wanted to make sure that they could cancel our reservations.
this dinner was also in place for a long time. So
All right. Hey, why are we taking the recess today?
to allow informal consultation,
Are there any other reasons why we could take a recess?
attain a quorum, and count ballots.
What's the purpose of postponing indefinitely?
To kill the motion.
Are there any other reasons why you might lay a postpone indefinitely over a main motion on that?
Because you want to stop talking about it and you don't want it to be brought up until you don't want to talk about it anymore this meeting and you just want to get rid of it completely.
But postpone indefinitely is debatable, right?
Yes.
So if you were in favor of the motion and you ran out of debates, you can also move to postpone indefinitely so you can talk about it again, but you would just want to move to make sure it fails.
The debates of postpone indefinitely can go into the merits of the main motion.
Very good. Thank you. Divide the question. Is that one amendable?
No.
So we withdrew a motion. What caused you to decide to withdraw your motion?
I feel like none of our debates that were going to be occurring in this meeting would go over 10 minutes, and we had all the time in the world to talk about this motion, and there was no need to rush to cut down the debates. So when I limited the debates, I originally thought that, but then I realized that there was no need to, so I withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
And that's
Thanks, Bainville.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you.
work.
Thank you.
Thanks for judging.
Do you want me just to leave my notes here? Okay.